Welcome back, mamas. Y'all, today I want to talk to you about something super fun. I want to ask you to think about things that you want in your life. What do you want your life to look like? And I want you to take guilt off the table in order to be able to do that. And so we're going to talk about what that looks like today, and I cannot wait. So let's get to it. Do you wish you had control of your days, that you had a rhythm, but instead feel overwhelmed, scattered, and like there's never enough time? You're in the right place. I'm Danielle, a recovering workaholic, wife, and stay-at-home mom of 2 girls. I've learned how to reclaim my time and find purpose and freedom so I can be present with my kids and feel like myself again. Here, we embrace where we are, but we don't stay there. So if you're ready to trade the chaos for clarity, the guilt for grace, and the endless to-do list for aligned flow, grab the kiddos a snack and toss in that laundry because I know you're multitasking, and let's do this because your time, your purpose, and you matter. Okay, mamas, I am super excited for today's episode because we are going to have some fun. We are going to talk about dreaming. We are going to talk about your future. We are going to talk about where you want to go. We are going to talk about what's been holding you back and what you want to see happen in your life. I talked on Tuesday. I asked you to think about what are some things that you would do this week if it weren't for guilt, if guilt didn't have a say in what you were doing, if guilt was not, breathing down your neck and trying to keep you stuck exactly where you are, where you feel like you're in this cycle of overwhelm, where you know you want more for your life, but you don't necessarily feel like you deserve it. Or maybe now if you've listened, which if you have not listened, this is like a series where we've been building, and you may not have felt worthy of that more that you want in your life, but go back to last week's episodes, please, and listen to those about why you are worthy, about why you should have everything that you want in your life and how it will actually make you a better mom. And so this week, I asked you, what would you do if guilt wasn't standing in the way? And I shared a quote with you at the end of the episode from Voltaire that says, "Every man is guilty of all the good he did not do." And I hope you thought about that quote because there are things that you're being held back from because of guilt. But this is reframing it and saying that you're actually guilty of things that you don't do. If you are knowing in your heart, right, you are sitting there and you're knowing that you need something more, that you are meant for something more. And when I say more, it doesn't necessarily mean that you are unhappy as a stay-at-home mom. It just means that you need something more. And in addition to being a stay-at-home mom, you need something more for yourself in your life that will actually make you a better mom. But the inaction or you not taking action towards that or not figuring this out is actually preventing something good from happening in your life. It's actually preventing you from being the entire person, the woman, the mother, the wife, all of the things that you're meant to be. And so I have another quote I want to share with you. And this one, it says, and I'm not sure who this is from, but it says, "Guilt can either hold you back from growing, or it can show you what you need to shift in your life." So if you're having mom guilt about something, right, it's typically this guilt that is hanging out that is telling you that you maybe don't have time, or you don't have enough energy, or you don't have enough resources, or you don't have enough of something to be able to do the things that you want to do. And maybe it's that you're not good enough. And in that case, like I said, go back and listen to last week's episode. But if it is because you feel guilty for wanting this more in your life, if it is because you feel guilty for, let's just say, I'm going to give you examples, okay? So let's just say you feel like you need to get a massage in order to feel better in your body, right? But you feel guilty for getting a massage because, number one, that would mean that you would have to find somebody to watch the kids while you went and got a massage. And you don't feel like that's a good use of babysitting time or whatnot. If you have to pay someone to watch the kids, or if you are asking, family or friends or whomever, and that's like feels like a favor to get that done for yourself. You don't feel like you should get that done for yourself. So it is holding you back from doing that. But what I want you to think about is, what if you need to make a shift in the way that you think? Because if you know that you are going to be a better mom if you get a massage because you're going to feel better in your body, or this could apply to anything that you needed to do for yourself. Like if you need to get a sitter to go work out, or if you need to get a sitter to help while you work, or if you feel like you need to hire someone to help you clean your house. But in all of these cases, guilt is holding you back because you don't feel like you should have to spend money on doing something. Let's just say if you're going to hire somebody to clean your house, like you should feel like you should be cleaning the house. And so you feel bad spending money on that when you feel like it's your responsibility. However, you know that you don't have time to clean the house. It's been proven that you can't keep up with the housework. And so if you don't do this, number one, you're feeling bad about yourself. Number two, the house is not getting kept up, right? And number three, it's probably creating this stress, and it's creating this environment that, number one, you don't want to live in. And number two, is causing you to be a little bit more on edge, a little bit more stressed and overwhelmed, and therefore not being able to be as present with your kids. It may cause you more stress, and so you're more likely to snap at them, or, to get annoyed, or whatever the case. And if you're not taking care of your body and yourself, or you're not taking care of this desire that you want more, you hold on to that. Right? You hold on to that. I have another quote here from Joseph Campbell that says, "We must be willing to let go of the life we've planned so as to have the life that is waiting for us." We sometimes planned, like we thought, okay, this is what I wanted. I wanted to stay at home. I wanted to be a mom. This is what it was going to look like. I was going to be able to do all of the housework, the laundry, cook, clean, all of the things that needed to be done around the house, and take care of the kids. And we would go on, play dates, and we would learn, and I would be able to teach them, and we could, go to the grocery and get all the meal planning done, and shop for family birthday presents, and send birthday cards, and keep up with my friends, and schedule all of the doctor's appointments and checkups, and, all of the things that we have to take care of as moms. But in reality, we recognize that some of these things have to suffer in order for other things to be able to be done well in our minds. So if, for instance, spending quality time with the kids and making sure we're, interacting with them and teaching them things and doing crafts and learning and hitting milestones and all of these things, and we want to make sure that we are going to the grocery and buying healthy foods and cooking all of the meals and eating at home as much as possible, and not spending time in front of screens or on devices, and spending time outdoors and spending time with the people in the family that we love, and all of these things. And then we are wondering why we're not able to keep up with all of the housework and all of the laundry and the host of things that I mentioned before, and the things that I didn't mention, right, that have to be done. And we, somewhere along the way, recognize that, oh my gosh, I don't think this is sustainable. Like, I cannot do all of the things as much as I want to, as much as I planned. This is not making me happy. And I can't keep up all of these things at the same time the way that I intended, the way that I had planned, right? And so I need to switch or pivot or figure out what can work for me and my family. What are the most important things to me? And then where do I need help? What are the areas where I need help, or where I feel like would allow me and my family to enjoy the life that I thought it would be, right? What does that reality look like now that I'm actually living this? And sometimes we realize that we have to let go of what we thought we could handle, of what we thought it was going to be like, right? Sometimes we have to just accept that it's going to be more chaotic. If you still want to take on all of those things and you don't want to, hire help and you want to figure it out, there are some things that are probably going to have to be sacrificed in order for that to happen, right? So is it going to be your time that you sacrifice, or is it going to be the money that you sacrifice? Or what is it that can give? And what makes the most sense for you and your family? But you have to let go of that ideal picture that you could do it all and that all would be hunky-dory, because you used to think that you had a lot of time on your hands, but now these children are a little older and they require a lot of time. And especially if you have kids at multiple stages, like if you have one that's the baby and the toddler, and maybe even you have a third that's, still kind of toddler, but getting into being preschool age, there are a lot more responsibilities when the kids start getting older. And so for me, I didn't start getting really overwhelmed until after I had two, and there was a lot more on my plate. But going back to my tagline, which is we embrace where we are, but we don't stay there. This is what we need to embrace where we are, but let's figure out how to change that. Let's figure out how to not stay in this state of chaos, in this state of overwhelm, in this state where we are. Where do we want to go? And let's dream about what that looks like. I have another quote from Mandy Hale that says, happiness is letting go of what you think your life is supposed to look like and celebrating it for everything that it is. We can still be grateful, right? We can be grateful for everything that our life is. But until we let go of what you think your life is supposed to look like, you're probably not going to find that happiness. But I bet if you evaluate everything that you have currently going on in your life and all of the things that you do have, there are a lot of things worth celebrating. It might not look exactly like you thought it would, or it could, or any of those things, right? But there's still a lot to celebrate. So let's embrace where we are, right? And then let's not stay there. Let's figure out what we want to do to move forward. Let's figure out what that looks like for us. I asked you to think about this week, what are some things that you would do if guilt wasn't playing like a part in your head, right? If it wasn't sitting there telling you that you shouldn't do these things, or that you didn't have time, or whatever it was. And I know you've got your reasons. Like if you thought about this, you have your reasons. Like I should, or I would go and get a massage, or I would hire somebody to help me clean the house, or I would ask my parents to watch the kids so I could go work out. Or I would think about hiring somebody maybe in the neighborhood or something to watch the kids while I tried to work or start a business for a couple of hours, a couple of days a week, or whatever it looks like for you, right? Let's dream about how you move forward, about how you get from where you are feeling this stuck and this overwhelm and this mom guilt and this self-doubt to where you want to be. Like, what does that look like for you? What is a baby step you could take towards that this week? And I would love it if you would try that. Like the guilt might creep in, right? When you go to pick up the phone to call your parents to ask them, or when you go to talk to your husband about hiring a cleaner or hiring somebody in the neighborhood to come watching your kids for a couple of hours a week, or whatever it is. But you in your heart know what that would do for you. Like if you got to go work out, what would that do for you? If you got to hire someone to clean, what would that do for you and your family? If you were able to hire someone to help you with the kids so that you could work on a new business, what would that do for your spirit, for your energy, for your demeanor? It's like a ripple effect, right? These small things, they create a big ripple. And I had one last quote that I wanted to close with. And this is from Martin Luther King Jr. that says, you don't have to see the whole staircase. Just take the first step. And I want you to know that you do not have to know what it looks like on the other side. Like, yes, I would love for you to dream about what your life could look like if you took some time for yourself, or if you went after what you wanted and to start a new business, or if you added lunch or coffee or catching up with a friend. But you may not be able to look out into the future and think what this would do for you. And that's okay, because you might be in that place where you're feeling so stuck, you're feeling so guilty that you just have to take the first step. You don't have to see the entire staircase. You just have to take the first step, and that will create a ripple, and that change will create such a positive impact that then you will get to prove to yourself what that did for you. And then you can see the next step that you can take. Because let's face it, when you're in this stressed out and overwhelmed and stuck and unhappy and unfulfilled place, you aren't being very productive. You aren't probably being as productive as you have been able to be in the past. But when you start to see the effects that some of these small little changes, some of these baby steps can have in your life, then you will be able to think more clearly about what it is that you want and why. Sometimes getting over this hump of the guilt is the hardest part, but we've got to kick this guilt to the curb before we can even really think about everything that we're capable of, everything that we could have in our life, everything that we can dream of that we would want for our life. And if you're anything like me, you may be able to picture like what you want your life to look like further out, but you aren't sure how you could ever get from where you are to there. And it all just has to start with that first step, taking an action towards what it is that you want and you honestly need in your life. And so I hope this inspired you to take some action today. I hope you do not feel any guilt or shame or anything for where you are right now, because let me just tell you, it's not just me that's been there before, but we've all been there before. But what I don't want is for you to stay there. I don't want you to stay stuck there as long as I did. I want you to move forward towards what it is that you want. And I would love to help you with that. So go to prioritizewithpurpose.com, download. I have a free resource there that I really think will speak to you and will help you with this. It talks about a lot of the things that I have talked about in this series. This was kind of going to be the last episode in this series, but I think I may actually do one more next week that kind of pulls all of these together into one episode so you could visualize the progression and see what this could really look like in real life. So go to prioritizewithpurpose.com, download that free resource, sign up for a coaching call, and I will meet you right back here next week. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, Mama. If so, please leave a review on Apple Podcasts and then hit share and send this to a mom who needs this in her day. I'll meet you right back here next week. Keep smiling, y'all.